Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This weekend sees Kasper Schmeichel wanting to keep his clean sheet record intact. He's beaten the record that goes back 118 years, a record that was not many fans thought we would actually beat when you look at it in the bigger picture. But Kasper Schmeichel has equalled and beaten the 118-year-old record with his fifth consecutive clean sheet and beaten it with his sixth. He'll want to go on to game day 7 in the SPFL, and he'll want to break even more records and go down as a fantastic goalkeeper for Celtic. Just don't talk about the Dortmund game. Anyway, this weekend sees Celtic go up to Ross County, but there's a fresh defensive concern that broke last night. The fact that Alistair Johnston will not travel to Canada to play in Canada's upcoming international, which means the international boss said that he is injured. So it does look like Alistair Johnston will be out the game this weekend, which means the likes of Tony Ralston will manage to get into the team. Tony Ralston's got a fantastic record up at that ground. Can you remember that goal? Late on into the game, ball comes in and Tony Ralston hammers the ball into the back of the net. The Ross County manager, Don Cowie, says that it's crucial his side get an early start to the game by an early goal against Celtic. Can they be the team that scores against Celtic, the first goal against Celtic in the SPFL? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Ross County have a strong home record, only losing 2 of their 15 matches in the Highland League across all competitions. That includes a 3-2 victory over the Sevco in April. Celtic, though, bring the toughest test and to anyone in the league. But having just lost 7-1 to Borussia Dortmund, will the team be hurting or will they have a hangover? That's the question going into the game Sunday. Will it be hurting or hangover? And I think the team will be hurting and they want to go out and do some damage to get the fans back on side, because there's a lot of fans that are still angry about the result this week and they're not too happy about it. And what's the best way that the team can do? The best thing that they can do is they can go out and perform against a Ross County side that will be hard to beat. It's always a hard game up at Ross County. Coming off the back of such a defeat, Celtic will be looking to go out and rectify that. The Ross County manager knows that it's imperative that they get a good start. He thinks that the way that Brendan manages the clubs, you can never feel sorry for yourself. It is all about the next game. Celtic manager says it on a weekly basis. It's all about the next game. But with the injury to Alistair Johnston, I think that it may play on the mind of some of the Celtic players. They've never looked too confident when there's big changes at the back. Will there be another change at the back this weekend? Will Cameron Carter-Vickers be fit? It was said that Cameron Carter-Vickers wouldn't make the European game, but he should be fit for the trip up to Ross County and Dingwall, which is a fantastic bus trip in the morning. It's great. Getting on the bevy, it's 6:30 in the morning, he'll head up to Ross County. The guys love it. They go from playing in front of 80,000 fans to playing in front of 6,000. And the away fans behind the goals always have a fantastic laugh. And get a wee pint in the train station before you go over, lads. The Ross County manager says, you've also got to work. He says, we need to put in the work. If we've got the possibility of getting an early goal, which gives us some energy and it gives us something to hang on to. They're a top quality team. But if we can score first, it brings in a bit of anxiety to them. We know they travel in big numbers and they're a vocal fan base, but it's also important that they start well. They will be looking to start well and hit Celtic on the break right for the start, because let's face it, everyone now knows that if you press Celtic really hard, we seem to struggle a bit. And that's one thing that we've been doing to teams in the SPFL all season. Now, the squad for the weekend, there will be dramatic changes to the team. But I think that a lot of players will keep their positions. My team for this weekend for St Johnstone versus Celtic up in Dingwall will be Kasper Schmeichel to keep his place in goal, because he is the number 1 goalkeeper at Celtic, with Sinisalo to be on the bench. Now, Anthony Ralston will come in at the right back to cover for the injured Alistair Johnston. Cameron Carter-Vickers, I suspect, will come back into the team. Brendan Rodgers will want to make sure that it is the strongest team as possible going into the game this weekend, and he'll partner the ever reliable Nobody would have said that about Scales 2 years ago, would you? Nobody was saying that about Scales 2 years ago. He was leaving the club after that season-long loan at Aberdeen. It looked as if he was going to be on his way back out the door when Brendan Rodgers came back to Celtic. He's even admitted it himself. He thought he'd be leaving Celtic to go and play football. With the fact that Brendan Rodgers that summer had just spent £7 million on two defenders, one that's currently out on loan and one that can't get a start for love nor money. Now, I wouldn't play him, big Mark, at the Ross County game. I wouldn't bring him in because he's not had any game time. I don't think he's match fit. But then with Cameron Carter-Vickers coming back with an injury, is he any fitter than big Mark? It's a strange one, but Brendan Rodgers will have the shout to make, and I think he will go with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales at the back. And then begs the question about Greg Taylor. Young Alex Valle come on from for Greg Taylor at half time, who was getting mauled in Dortmund, and he had a good game. He's proven to the Celtic fans that he is a quality player. Celtic have brought him in on loan to the end of the season for cover for Greg Taylor, but I think that he may get the nod this weekend in that away trip. But you never know. Brendan Rodgers might just go with the tried and trusted and keep Greg Taylor in the team. He maybe wants to rest Greg Taylor up because Greg Taylor will be going away on international duty with Scotland to sit on the bench. In the midfield, it will be back to normal for Callum McGregor. He'll have Arnie Engels on one side, but he'll also have Rio Hatate. I expect Rio Hatate to come back into the fold for this game. That will see Paulo Bernardo getting dropped from the starting 11, I think. I think the manager will go back to Hatate to get some foot berth in that midfield and trying to create something in the first half of the game. Up front, it's going to be no change as far as I'm concerned. There'll be no need to change it. I think that even though Kyogo didn't get much chances in the Dortmund game, he has scored his first away goals in over a year, and I think he wants to keep that record going. He wants to show that he can still score goals. I think Kyogo Furiashi will start through the middle. Daizen Maeda on the wing. I think he'll also keep his position along with Nico Kuhn. That is my 4-4-3-3 formation that Brendan Rodgers likes. I think that the only mistake Brendan Rodgers did make is in the Dortmund game, he should have played 4-5-1. He should have played 4-5-1, and if he had started 4-5-1, we would have got a hold in that midfield a lot better. We don't need to play 4-5-1 against Ross County. They will sit back and try and hit on the break. Celtic will still play the same football that Brendan Rodgers, the same style of football that has kept us all happy all season. But it's the style of football that got us absolutely hammered in Dortmund. So let's forget about the Champions League for a couple of weeks. We do have a couple of important games in the SPFL before we get back to talking about Champions League football. Tell me your score predictions in the. I'm going to go for 3-0 Celtic. I think that Celtic will have goals in them. It's always a hard place to go as Ross County, but once you get the first one, you tend to be late goals up at Ross County. There's always been late goals, and I think that it'll be 3-0. Tell me your thoughts and what you think the score will be in the comment section. Tell me if you think that team is total nonsense, or tell me if you think that, yep, that's probably the team that the manager will start. It's going to be a heads or tails whether he starts with young Alex or if he goes with the one and only Mr. Reliable, as Callum McGregor called him on a European video. He called Greg Taylor Mr. Reliable because he's always there, and he says that Scales is also Mr. Reliable because he's just improving every single game. Anyway, with the fact that Alistair Johnson has been left out, it's a big shock for Celtic, or is it? We've seen him walk off the pitch a couple of times with that back injury. Kasper Schmeichel has a fantastic opportunity, and you have to say hats off to the defenders in front of him. Although Kasper has made some fantastic saves in the SPFL over the starting part of the season, the defenders have played good also. Let's just not say that they haven't, because they have. Without a defence, the clean sheet records might not be there. But Celtic currently sitting top of the league with 18 points. Can Aberdeen overtake us this weekend? I personally don't think that they will, because we do play before them, and the fact that I can't see Celtic dropping points, and I think that we'll go out, and they do play Hearts this weekend. I don't expect them to drop points to Hearts. And Sevco, well, they play later on. They play later on Sunday, and I don't know what that's about. All for TV. They'll love playing at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night at Ibrox. That's fallen down against St Johnstone, and they'll be expecting some fight back after their disappointing result last night, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. The Saturday games, the games tomorrow are obviously Dundee, Kilmarnock, Hibernian, Motherwell, St Mirren, Dundee United. They'll all be looking to close and try and get further up the table and put a bit of pressure on the team in third position. I expect Celtic come Sunday night to still be top of the league, looking down on everyone, and it's all going to be about the goal difference, how much goals we can score against Ross County to make sure that we get further and further afield. Because let's face it, the Celtic team and the players will want to break records with goals scored this season. Make sure that you join us for the videos later on this afternoon. I'm off to the dentist now. Have an absolutely fantastic day to every single one of you Celtic fans out there.